Many of Baltimore's West Side merchants are fighting to save their businesses. Not from a lack of patronage, but from a much greater threat. In the name of progress and redevelopment, the city of Baltimore condemned over 100 historic buildings, many of which were about to be listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The city plans to turn this area over to developers, including the Weinberg Foundation, one of the largest U.S. foundations. The developers plan to displace the current businesses, many owned by immigrants and minorities, in favor of large national chains. This video tells the real story of the West Side merchants and the buildings they own and occupy. It's Baltimore's West Side story.
Many years ago, when I was a mayor, and I guess as governor also, I was of the theory that if you tear all the buildings down and put something new up, that was the right thing to do. What a mistake that was. Once a building is torn down, once a good building is torn down, it's never replaced. Other buildings there, but it isn't the same. You know what I hope? I hope this West Side will be a success, but there are small merchants here that should stay, there are buildings here that should stay. The only thing I suggest that people use their head. And I say to the new mayor, you got to learn what preservation is all about, and don't join that gang that believes in one thing, bulldozers. That's wrong. This building behind me, I remember years ago, was a Kresge building. Beautiful building, and it still is. There are certain buildings in this area that if they're torn down, small merchants will be gone, the history of Baltimore will be gone, the fabric of Baltimore will be gone. So I just hope that as they move forward with this, that they think about preservation. It's so important, not only to Baltimore, but to Maryland and to our country. Preserve the good buildings that you have.
Imagine that 200 years ago, that these bricks were hand-built by someone who built this and said, this is going to last beyond my lifetime, these buildings. That this is their hard work, that this is their sweat and tears, and the city just is going to demolish it without a thought.
I received from Baltimore City BDC is appraisal letter. Before them, I don't know what's going on. After them, we find out our building going to be condemned. One of the councilors, woman say, we can start all over. With what? I mean, with what? Where?
Yeah, I love Baltimore. I mean, I was 418, one block from here, west. I was in business over there 11 years. And then I moved into here, this location, my own building I bought. And then I started all over again.
When Frank Sinatra performed for the very first time professionally, it was at this theater, Hippodrome Theater. My grandfather was the guy that cleaned his hat and told him break a leg just before showtime. So we've been here a long time. And the real shame of it is that we were depicted as being blighted. And we're far from blighted. We're thriving niche businesses. We're an eclectic conglomeration of shops and stops. And we're patronized from all over.
Most of my clients, African American, and my employees are, African American too. And, they have family. We have to try to stay here, but I don't know what's going to be. Since 1998, they have a fair institute called 98-9889, called West Side Redevelop, and involving 18 blocks in downtown and West Side. And this is one of our anchor store. They want to use the entrance for Hippodrome Theater.
I'm Jimmy Rouse, president of the Charles Street Association. There are a couple of myths associated with the redevelopment of the West Side that are factually untrue. The first is that this is a blighted and vacant area. The truth is that the merchants on the Lexington Street corridor pay half again as much rent on the average as Charles Street merchants and do more dollars per square foot of business than the average merchant on Charles Street. The second myth is that to redevelop this neighborhood, it is necessary to tear it down and destroy it in order to bring it back. In fact, the opposite is the case. The cities that are most successful redeveloping their downtowns are redeveloping them by building on what's already here, saving the historic buildings, using the existing merchants, to create an area that's unique and a contrast to suburban shopping.
They say they want to put it on a parking garage. I'm upset because behind my building, they have a lot of vacant the lots. It's already empty. They can build up a parking garage as much as they want. I think Weinberg Foundation, I think he wants this golden spot here.
They make the more compensation generally, and then everybody is happy for that. They're willing to moving out too. I think that is the best solution of they find out individual businesses like the value of the individual business, and then they make the reasonable compensation. I think everybody is willing to agree with this plan.
They're talking about relocation. They say when we move, the moving cost plus only $10,000 for fix the store. That's impossible because 5 years ago I bought this building. I spent almost $60,000 for open business. $10,000 not going to do anything.
We're not going to go into a new facility undercapitalized. We're too smart for that. We know better. And hopefully the city will not put us in that jeopardy.
How am I going to start all over again? I'm not young anymore. I'll be retired in soon. But they make me so messed up. All my life is done. Yes, but I tell you right now, I'm not going to move out. I better die here. I feel that kind. I want to stay here forever.
Mayor Martin O'Malley, I appreciate you, and you voted against the 988-898 bill when you were 3rd District Council member. You voted against it because you was worried about all the merchants who stand by all this year, better or worse. And you did have a compassion for all this immigrant merchant plus Afro-American merchant plus idea of a forced out. And I appreciate what you've done as a 3rd District Council member. And yet, as mayor, you can do so much now. I want you to meet with us, talk to us what you plan to do with all this relocate merchants. Because I don't want you to push aside to develop to deal with us. I want you to deal with us.
In January of this year, Baltimore gained a new mayor, Martin J. O'Malley. Already, he has expressed great interest in Baltimore's West Side, especially the preservation of local merchants and businesses. We thank Mayor O'Malley for these efforts. We hope that we have explained to him and to the citizens of Baltimore that the businesses, merchants, and historic buildings of the West Side are civic treasures which the city should nurture and cherish.